understand? We are going to look at elephants in another man's country, and we will pay them, and we get there, we will stay in hotel. We will eat, we will do everything. How are we promoting the value that we have in our state? Who will promote it for us? It's up to us. Our Igu foundry. Who is going there to talk about the Igu foundry? We need to begin to look internally and say, how do we begin to prosper from inside? Because the tourists we are looking for, until we become the tourists of our state and begin to tell the stories of our state, nobody is going to come here. How many of us have gone to Ososo and see the Ososo hills? But when we go to Colorado and go and take picture of hill in Colorado. Meanwhile, we don't have foreign exchange. Every day, dollar is climbing high. Those are the issues. So when you talk about economic revolution, it doesn't come by mistake. We must tie our economic revolution to our culture and our environment, because that is the only sustainable source of development that we have that is not replicable anywhere else in the world. When people talk about the Amazon forest, what is Amazon forest? It's rainforest. Where are we? Rainforest. Why are they not on the state? If you see the way people they celebrate, they say they don't see meat. Do you understand? There a whole film, or did the whole film on anaconda. They went to Amazon forest to shoot it. That film grossed how many $1 million, $1 billion in box office revenues? Why did they come and shoot it? The anaconda full our forest here. We are not telling people see anaconda. When our people even see the anaconda, they go chop them. There is no this problem. Which one? What do they call this thing? Crocodile. Mona, forgive me. I've been joining the people. We went to Sarasota, and they were doing. There's one river in Sarasota. I think it was in Sarasota that we had that river. They call it Lazy River. The river is full of crocodile. They come make small boats, put trailer. Small boats. You enter the boat. They call it kayaking with the crocodiles, and you kayak across crocodile. The crocodile go they knock you. There are also people that will be following you on a boat in case you fall out of the distance, so that before crocodile chop you finish, they will deliver you. Me, Benin girl, went grow for year. Now they carry me reach there. They say, nah, what is it they call it? Tourism. Make I enter boats for crocodile full river. Me, I'll quite be a crocodile day. What kind of tourism is that? That is a tourism of iniquity. I now enter the boat. Oh. I stand for this thing. I stand far. I say, wow, come and meet me here. Do you understand? Crocodile full our place here. If you go to our market now, they use rope tie crocodile mouth. Then they wait. Who will come buy the crocodile? Make their butcher around. But see what people are doing with the natural endowment that God has blessed them with. And what I'm trying to say is, what can we do in Edo? God has blessed us with the endowments. We have the Blue River. That is the cleanest river, I think, in the whole of West Africa. When you stand, you fly from on top of it, you will see the bottom of the river. It is clear, it is clean, and it is naturally cleaned. It's not as if anybody goes there to clean it. It is a wonder. We need to package it and talk about it so that people will come and see what we have in our state. When you talk about the bronzes, we have been doing bronzes since the 14-something. Over how many years? And today, people are not coming to us to learn how to do bronze. Why? It's something we need to ask ourselves. How have we positioned ourselves? We are spoken about all over the world as master bronzers. Our artifacts are in all the major museums across the globe. Over 131 museums across the globe have Edo bronze heads. But nobody in the world is coming here to learn how to do bronze the way we have done it over time. How do we set up a bronze institute that people can come from all parts of the world to learn how we do our own in our own unique ways? People will pay for it. Those are the issues. But we said for this whole thing that we are looking for this vision to work, for us to achieve our common objective, we need to look at that green area. Everybody over the last 63 years has only looked at that green area. We only think these are the people that are government. The people who come and go with a maximum tenure of 8 years. Are they the ones that will drive the vision for the state? Are they the ones that will tell us how the state is going to look 50 years from now? If you go to business schools all over the world, we learn about Malaysia, we learn about Dubai, we learn about Singapore, and how they have moved from third world countries to first world countries in the last 50 years. What they don't tell us is that those people have had a stable monarchy over that period of time. We do not run a monarchical system, we run a democracy. So how do we, in the face of the democracy that we practice, also move our state and our country from being a third world country, from being a first world country, if we do not want the political actors to create 8 years? For that to happen is why we are in this hall today. Because the only people that can make us achieve it is if the civil and public servants buy into a long-term vision and are able to drive implementation of the strategies that will deliver that vision in the long term. We need to go back to what we used to have. When we used to have supernumerary permanent secretaries, who were the ones that told political governments, this thing you want to do, it is possible or it is not possible. But my father used to tell us something when we were growing up. He said, in every role you will occupy in life, there's a power inherent in that role. Nobody gives it to you. You need to take the power and use it. If you are waiting for somebody to give you the power, the person will take your own power, add it to his own, and become super powerful. And you will become weaker and weaker to the point where at a point you will feel, I don't have the power to do anything. But it's because you gave up that power. And the Bible calls it, it says that when kings begin to walk as paupers, and the paupers begin to ride horses as kings, it is because the kings and princes do not know who they are. And that is what it is. So we have said that blue area, the civil and public service, they are key in us achieving Vision 2050. Because Edo being great is not about Godwin Obaseki. Edo being the best state to live and prosper in is not about Godwin Obaseki. How many of the leaders have we sent to Abuja? How many of them have come back to Benin to become full-time permanent residents in Benin? Not in Lagos and Abuja that they stay. Now me and you, now we they stay here. So if this place is better, it's for our own good. Apart from the civil and public service. Thank you. Who else is here for the long term? The citizens and state interest groups, NGOs, civil society organizations, businesses that are set up in Edo State. We must all be interested and get involved in governance. And one way to do so is to be interested in the 30-year master plan. What is in that plan? How do we want Edo to be by the year 2050? Because if we do not follow that plan, we will not achieve our objectives. So from next year, I think early next year, the Ministry of Physical Planning will be driving a series of interventions, engagements with citizens in the different buckets so that people begin to understand what is in the master plan and how do we ensure it is implemented. Because for us to grow as a state, the roads in that master plan, they must be constructed. The farms that we have identified in that master plan, they must be planted. Because people will say, how farm? If you want to become an economic hub, you must have raw materials. How much corn do you need to run all the ethanol factories that have been set up or proposed to be set up in Edo State between now and 2050? How many hectares of cassava will need to be planted so that we can meet the ethanol requirements, but also it will not diminish our gari requirements? Because food security is key. So how many hectares of cassava do we need to plant? How many hectares of cassava are we currently planting? How much more do we need to increase on a daily basis? We are the farmers that we plant it. So you see that we are interconnected. Industrialization, agriculture, financing, Edo GIS, water, infrastructure is key. We must all begin to collaborate and work together to deliver value to the state. So what did we want to do to achieve our objective? We said we needed to reskill and retool the civil and public service. So we started with the change management training plan, which we deployed in 2021, which now metamorphosed into JOPSA by the year 2022. We needed to restore pride and productivity in the workplace. Edo State civil and service public servants had become disenfranchised and disenchanted.
People will sign up for emergency services to test if people will provide feedback to improve services received. These were our prototypes. We actually did a kind of a questionnaire to get people to solicit their opinion if they will probably want to sign up for emergency services. By this, we can have a register of persons, so when the emergency arises, they can be easily reached, and people actually volunteered. Please, let's see next slide. Let's see the outcome of the. Okay, no, there was actually a slide that they showed before this where we had 80% of those that we talked to. Okay, yes, 80 people have been involved or know someone who has been involved in an emergency, while 90% of persons that we actually reached volunteer that they can spend 2 hours of their 2 hours every week to work remotely. In other words, to do a volunteer work of helping others through the helplines, of course, we were planning to develop. Please, next slide. This is the actual prototype. Like I said earlier, we use the SAC Center as a focus, okay? We use the SAC Center as a case study. Okay, so we are our solution, our prototype is actually centered around the SAC Center. So what's this solution? The solution is an automated message, of course, that will be received by the beneficiary at the SAC Center. So this is how it works. Okay, we discovered that lots of persons are not aware of emergency services available in the state. Now we are prototyping a solution to get feedback from our beneficiaries, from our clients, on the services that they have received from this SAC Center, because we know that the service is existing, and lots of, if I can tell you this, on a average, we have about 100 persons that is received and attended to at the SAC Center in Benin here. And these persons, they suffer from one form of abuse or the other. It can be child abuse, it can be domestic violence, wife battery, it can be physical assault. So these persons come to the SAC Center, and government has been providing these services. The services start from the medical services, from the psychosocial support, from the investigation at the police, and legal service for those that will extend to that will need lawyers to fight their cases. And the good thing is that at the SAC Center, I just want to appreciate His Excellency, everything there is free. All services rendered to persons that have suffered one form of violence or the other, everything is free. And to make it more beautiful, we have a shelter that is in Danjuma Women's Center, which we provide shelter for victims or for survivors who will be needing protection outside their homes. Now, at the SAC Center, I've said it's a one-stop shop where they receive all these services and it's free. And we have been doing this for years. So this is the solution. We want to improve. We know that we have a government that believes in the welfare of the citizens. So now that we have been giving out these services, what is the outcome? We want to do better. What are those areas where we need to do better? And that's where the solution comes into play. So the solution is a feedback application. If a citizen's feedback application on services they have received in order to help us improve for more efficiency and effectiveness in our service delivery. So how does it work? I don't know if we can expand a bit so we can all see it. So at the point where these clients come into the Sexual Assault Referral Center, of course, their consent is actually requested so that we can get this feedback. So we'll ask them if they will probably want us to send them a message to get this feedback. And based on their confirmation, through their phone numbers, they will get this message. Please, let's go back to the message. I can just read a few of them. So this is the interface, the citizen's interface. So the first automated message will be, because I need to read it. Okay, hello. Hello, your well-being is our utmost priority. To better serve you, we would like your feedback on your experience at our center. First, would you prefer to answer in standard English or in Nigerian Pidgin? So if your affirmation is a 1, then we'll go on with the English and continue. So the next message that will come will be, great, thank you. To continuously improve our support, we invite you to participate in a brief anonymous survey about your recent visit about your recent visit. Your insight will help us assist others. If you are comfortable sharing, please reply 1 for yes, and 2 for stop, decline. So it goes on. If it is a yes, thank you, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very poor, 5 being very excellent, how would you rate your overall experience at our center? So it continues like this, is the front interface. Then at the back end, we are able to receive this feedback in order to know the areas where we need to improve for better and effective service delivery to the people of Edo State. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sosa. She's one of us. She's a change agent, part of the Edo State Transformation and Enhancement Program. So we'll quickly invite cohort 2, correct?
Yes, cohort 2 represent the Farmers Data Management System. Please help me welcome Mr. Enoch.
Good morning. Permit me.
Yes. Sorry. So cohort 1 was the pilot cohort. So yes. So but for this, who is the facilitator for this?
I'm going to invite.
Yes.
So permit me to invite the team, the rest member of my team, cohort 2. Please join me on stage as we present this together. You were in the second series, just join me on stage. Design Sprint 2. Please, a round of applause for them, please. Okay.
While the introduction was going on, we had the privilege to welcome the Commissioner for the Ministry of Physical Planning, Housing, Urban and Regional Development, Mrs. Isoke.
Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to stand on already existing protocol. My name is Enoch Edward from the Strategy, Policy, Project and Performance Management Office. So I'll be walking us through the prototype from the Design Sprint second series. With me here is my team, and we actually came up with the challenge, Farmers Database. So as a way of background, I'll be giving us a short background on how we came about this challenge and went about solving it. Okay, a group of sprinters like ourselves who came up and we collected challenges that were being faced by individuals in different MDAs. And what stood out for us was the fact that there was poor database for farmers in the state, and this affecting decision making in the agri sector. So we used the priority matrix to arrive at this challenge, and looking at it, why it actually came up as a big deal, because we will all agree with me that food is a major criteria in the state. All of us, we must eat. And the people that do this food, they are the farmers. So, and these interventions that will come up, they are to help boost the farmers and help them do more. So when we came up with this challenge, we had to delve deeper into it to understand the root cause of the problem. We used the iceberg model to understand the root cause of this challenge, which led us to go into the field. We went to the key stakeholders involved that are closer to this challenge, which is the Ministry of Agri, ADP, and we spoke to some staffs. We spoke to the extension agents, we spoke to some directors in the ministry to give us better insight, to make us understand what is actually the issue, the existing problem in real life scenarios. And after the user research we carried out in the field, we went back, when we went back to the office, so we sat down and we carried out analysis on our findings during the research, the user research. And this analysis gave us key insights to what have been a trend that has caused this problem to persist. Now, we discovered, part of our findings, we discovered that the extension agents, commodity association leaders, and contact farmers, they are the point of entry in terms of collection of data from these farmers. So if you want to get more data, if you want to get data, you have to speak to these guys. They know firsthand what is actually obtainable in the farm. Okay, so after we did that, we from our findings, we now we came up with a solution to address this problem, and which is I'll be presenting to us today. Now, this is a wire diagram of the solution we came up with. It's a prototype, and it's a process that will enable the extension agents, whether in the field or not in the field, both offline and online, to collect real-time data of farmers, and it is fed directly to the database. So next slide, please. This is a bigger picture of the wire diagram, but we went further. We actually went further to design a low-fidelity prototype. This is it. This is the landing page. When you go to the site, the first thing you do, there will be an account that will be created for three key personnel, either the extension agent, an evaluator, or a planner. Now, when you click on Create Account, you go to the next slide. You'll be asked to enter your full name, your email address, the one you want, your password, your preferred password. Then if you click on this drop-down arrow, it will bring out your designation. Are you an evaluator, a planner, or an extension agent? Then sign up. The next page. Then you'll be led to a login screen where you log in. When you log in as an extension agent, you will see this. Next slide, please. When you log in as an extension agent, this is the dashboard you will see. To show you the total number of farmers registered, maybe the ones pending on your till, then saved. Maybe you want to work on it later. and the form that you fill to collect the data, name, type of farm, farm size, farm location, and other information will also be added. Now, we intend that this system will be integrated to the already existing platform for the sector, for the agri sector. So you can click Save to work on it later, maybe to review some attachments or anything, or you click Submit. Once you click on the Submit button, it goes to the evaluator. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so the evaluator logs in and he sees this on his dashboard. The report from the extension agent is seen as a picture attachment. Then he clicks on Review. Once he clicks on Review, he has the opportunity to either approve or reject. The opportunity to either approve or reject. If he's not satisfied with some particular data collected by the extension agent, he can reject it and it goes back to the extension agent. Once he approves it, it goes straight to the database, which is stored in the cloud. And that database is managed by the ICTA. Okay? So if you want to view the database directly to see existing data already in he clicks on that view data, please. I'm not done with the other side, please. Sorry. He clicks on the view data and it takes him straight to the database where he can filter, maybe you want to check information, current information, or existing farms in the state. So next slide, please. Now we have the page for the planner. Now the planner, he needs data to work and to retrieve what he sees on his own dashboard. He sees a kind of a filter to the database. Now he enters the year. Let's say he wants to get data from 2021. He enters the year, the local government is trying to focus on, and the data variable. Is it cashew? What type of farm? Is it rice farm? Whatever farm it is. Once he enters it, then clicks on Generate. Immediately clicks on Generate. Next slide, please. So he sees this. This is the database, a screenshot of some data based on the criteria he entered. So he sees this, which is the database. Now he can choose to download, and once he clicks that drop down, you'll see a screen whereby he can choose to export as an Excel format, PDF, or to do an analysis on this. I'll show us a screenshot of the analysis, what it will look like. Next slide, please. So he can actually choose to do this. He can print this because the system will automatically calculate and do all the analysis for him. Just print or share, as the case may be. Next slide. So that's the solution, and we believe that if this is incorporated, it will help to bring about more credible and comprehensive data for easy tracking.
Let's give another round of applause to this thing. You know why I got up to speak? It's so that we understand.
there will be no food for us because this agro-industry, they are buying it off the market, creating pressure on our local consumption. There will be no garri for us. There will be no fufu. Everybody is selling to the industry. So I think that's why we need to key into this. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Do we have more questions for cohort 2? No, thank you very much, cohort 2. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. When the Honorable Commissioner was asking a question, I thought I would need to support them. But I want to say kudos to the team because they understood the problem, they developed a solution, and they could defend the solution. Well done. Just to also let you know that the work has not ended. We now need to sit with the agric ecosystem, develop this to suit, upgrade this to suit their requirements, and work with the extension workers to be able to bring in this information. But we identified this as one of the strong issues that we needed to address. And for me, thankfully, the solution is actually something that also meets our requirements, and it doesn't require us to begin to look for budgets anywhere that will give us headaches. So we can support the agric system without breaking our banks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Head of Service represented, please, one more person has a question for cohort 2. Will you kindly permit us to engage?
Already standing on existing protocol, I want to salute and say well done to the team. I appreciate and I want to say well done once again. I know that it's still a prototype. But my question is this: how do we deal with the language barrier? You know, in Edo State, we have so many languages. In fact, 3 senatorial districts. We have the one in the interior, we have the one in the Akoko Edo and all that. How do we handle it? This is a question I feel has been bothering my mind, and I feel the team should put this into consideration because the farmers themselves, I believe they will appreciate it because the end users too, like the farmers that we all know, want their products to be, showcased and displayed. That's my question. Thank you very much.
Please, can we all be quiet? Thank you. She wants to know what our resolution with language barrier would be.
Okay, these extension agents, they are from the locality, different local governments. They are specially picked. Now, remember I mentioned their contact farmers. The extension agents also have indigens for far to reach villages, so that can help to break that language barrier. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, cohort 2. I think that'll be all for our questions for that cohort. We will now quickly move to another very exciting segment of this engagement session, where we would have the panel discussion. On this panel, we have civil and public servants of the Edo State Government, and they are Onebamosi Esosa of the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues. Would you please join us on the stage? Omaragbon Jackson of the Office of the Head of Service. Agbo Kahie Ogbomo Peace from the Ministry of Digital Economy, Science and Technology. And Idaha Agbon Blessing from the Strategy, Policy, Projects and Performance Management Office. These panelists will be bringing their unique perspectives to the table on the conversation, redefining government through design and improved service delivery. To moderate this session will be Osahan Oko, who is the team lead for the Special Duties Unit of the Strategy, Policy, Projects and Performance Management Office.
I'll sit there.
Mr. Omaragon Jackson from the Office of the Head of Service.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Standing on existing protocol, I feel so excited. I was telling my colleague Uyi that yesterday I felt so bad because we had 3 cohorts of design sprints and I was not opportune to attend. I feel like we've lost a whole lot, right? Right? But please, let's celebrate everyone that has invested so much time. These people have done something amazing. So the next 30 minutes, we're going to spend just a few minutes just having conversation around design sprints. For some of us, it's new, but I think we've got some level of insight of what it's about. I'm more curious around why does it matter and how does it translate to us as governments. For us in government, we're very much particular about economic revolution and service delivery, right? And how those 2 concepts get to intertwine. And we're very much particular about how we get to give ultimate service delivery to our people. And taking a cue from the first presentation that was done by Mr. Ojo, you hear terms like collaboration, you hear terms like teamwork. I will start with Jackson, right? I will start with you and just give us light into what you've learned, the experience participating in the design sprint, both as a participant and also as a facilitator, and how that has actually transformed your perspective towards work and towards everything you do. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone here, most especially the head of service, the honorable commissioners, my mommy as well, the State Governor, all permanent secretaries, and everyone here present. I want to thank us for the opportunity, not just to be here, but to have also participated in the sprint. So the thing is, you just talked about teamwork. And most often, it is a common mistake for people who have had the opportunity, to participate in sprint, to think that teamwork is similar to, sprint. But I tell you, there's a very huge difference because with sprint, apart from the collaboration and teamwork, there is a possibility for you, to go a little bit deeper, which is a section refers to the ideation. You have the opportunity of brainstorming. Okay, brainstorming not just with yourself, but with all the experts in the room, and you have the opportunity to do this not just with so much liberty, but within a restricted period of time. There is this time frame, and you do it and come up with possible solution, for whatever challenge that you have identified from the very go. You understand? So I think that is something that I have personally found as beautiful. And how does it translate to my personal life and even my work? I'll tell you. I was discussing with somebody, I think some time ago, that sprint, as a matter of fact, has even got into my home. Because recently I was going to do something for my kids, and my wife was against it, and I told her, she didn't know, I'm very sure she didn't know where I got that from, but I told her, I said, look, instead of we debating on this, why don't we get to hear from our children? So we did a bit of sprint, and we got our response. As a matter of fact, the solution was perfect. So that's that. And for my work, as a matter of fact, for every administrative officers in the service, you will agree with me if we have anyone here. You agree with me that most often our responsibility is basically policy, making policy recommendation for government. And I've come to see that while we do that, there are very essential processes that will live out, you understand, in the service. And one of such, because when you talk about policy making itself, I understand that there are relevant processes. For instance, the identification of the policy formulation and then identification of policy option. In that option, most often what happens is you get to find debate. You know, people debate possible options that could help solve the problem, which, you know, has to do with the policy itself. But why debating, which usually is based on assumption? Why don't you go on sprinting? Get it, you know, get relevant, you know, insight from the end users, from the people that would be the beneficiary of such policies. So I think this is what makes the design sprint very significant and important.
I think that's great. That's a great response. I'm sure, Blessing, you have, yes, please. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Standing on the existing protocol, for me, the takeaway, the exciting part about sprint, there is a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift, let me give a story I'm sure we are aware of Nokia. We all used to know of Nokia. When we entered the millennium, Nokia was up there. But right now, they lost their place. It is because sprint design introduces something that has been taken for granted for a long time. And that is the fact that it is the end user that takes the driver's seat. Now, for those of us that are married here, have you ever had this experience? You went out, you bought something for your spouse, your wife, and then you brought it home, and then she looks at it and says, thank you. Now, you see, sprint design sprint, help to prevent that costly risk for both organizations, whether government, private, or public. Because at the end of the day, if you produce something on my behalf without consulting me, you are going to have it on my behalf. So bringing this into our workplace, I think, like I said, it's a paradigm shift, and it's going to spark up a revolution in the public service, where those who formulate policies, those who make decisions, don't make these decisions in isolation. It doesn't matter how small, how trivial it is. The end user must take the driver's seat. You must interface and interact with them. You need to find out what they really want. Otherwise, you might go the way of Nokia. Thank you.
That's true. So, how many of us want to be Nokia? So that's a very good example, right? And taking a cue.
How do we want them to contribute to the process of governance? What are our expectations from them, and what do they reasonably expect from us in terms of what they will get from government working here? They are already getting a lot of these things. There might be a few things that we want to add, but there's a lot that we are already doing as a government. Edo State pays the highest basic salary in the whole of Nigeria. That is an employee value proposition. For anybody that wants to work in government in Nigeria, working for Edo State pays me more than working in any other government. So why don't I come here and do my civil service career? That's part of an employee value proposition. Number two, Edo State has a fantastic organizational ambience. Our workspaces are world class. It's an employee value proposition. That's when you come to work every day, you are working from a comfortable environment. The fact that you have your work tools is an employee value proposition. So say, when you get into Edo State government, we will provide the basic work tools for you to be able to perform on your tasks and deliver on the activities that you are expected to deliver for the organization. Employee value proposition is that you have your job description clearly defined. Before 2021, yes, people were coming into the service. We were posting them to do different jobs. We had the scheme of service. But what is the expectation from that job on a day-by-day basis, on a yearly basis, that when I come into the organization every day, I come to office, there is something I know is expected of me that I should be doing. So in 2021, we did a whole new organizational redesign, and we developed an organogram for each MDA, which clearly states the mandate, the vision, and the objectives of that MDA, and how that MDA ties into the overarching objectives of Edo State Government. And from that, we were able to then develop a job description for every role that was in that organizational structure. So everybody who was posted to sit in any MDA, to take up a role in MDA, knew what the definition of that role was, and knew what the expectations of that role was. We've then gone forward now in 2023, where we are now saying you need an individual task and target for every year. So yes, I know what the job I'm doing is for this MDA, but in this year, what is the expectation of my deliverable based on available budget and based on the activities that the state has defined that they want to deliver in 2023. It's an clarity of role, it's an employee value proposition. If you agree with me, when you don't know what to do, you are coming to work every day, you really don't know what people expect of you, there is a frustration that comes with it. When you have clarity of roles and expectations, you are able to plan. You are able to know, oh, I have delivered. Nobody needs to have that conversation with you. You know when you are struggling, because you know I'm supposed to have delivered this thing 2 weeks ago. I'm 2 weeks behind schedule. Those are employee value propositions that most government employees in Nigeria do not have, but we have in Edo State Government. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. But when an organization is providing some of these things, they need something in return. They need you to be able to deliver. And that is where performance management comes in. Performance management is another employee value proposition, because you know that I will be rewarded if I do well. There are consequences for doing well or not doing well. Next slide, please. So what were the concerns that we had initially? The fact that we have the highest salary, the highest minimum wage in Nigeria is not really an employee value proposition if those wages are not paid and paid on time. One of the things Edo State is putting on the table for civil servants today is prompt payment of salaries. You can plan. And when your salaries come promptly, you can actually have access to take loans, to do other things that will provide more income or provide more value for you in your life. But when the time when government does not pay salaries, 3 months, 6 months at times, civil servants are not paid. But one of the employee value propositions today is that on the 25th, the 26th of every month, you get an alert. Am I lying? The alert is loud, is clear, and is prompt. So prompt payments of salaries is an employee value proposition. You can plan based on a date every month. People need to be able to have assurance that in working for this organization, if something happens to me, I am well taken care of. You know that as an Edo State civil and public servant, we have our global insurance scheme. Sorry? Not health insurance. We have group insurance that takes care of you. If you die in service, they pay something to your people. If you have an accident, they are able to give you some money. There's something called group insurance, and we have it in Edo State Government. Apart from that, we have health insurance, HIS, so that when you are sick, you can go to hospital. You don't need to pay from your pocket. We know that, Abi. You can go to any government hospital. You don't need to pay from your pocket because Edo State has given us health insurance. Pensioners in Edo State today, they are not crying everywhere. You know some states, pensioners will gather, they will be crying, they will carry placard. Is it still happening in Edo State? What does he do? He gives you assurance that when I work for Edo State and I pension, I will be able to take care of myself in old age. And then pensioners also have a health insurance plan. That means that those things that come with old age, they call it geriatric diseases, you will be able to care for them. You will be left desolate after working and giving 35 years of your life to the state. All those are employee value propositions. We have performance reviews. So we are looking at a performance-driven culture. It's part of the EVP that we offer. We have performance rewards, bonuses, incentives, honorarium. When you work in a committee, they pay the committee an honorarium. When they call you to do some form of presentations, you do that. Apart from that, the fact that as a state, we are growing our IGRO, it means that the state is economically viable. And what that means is that all those hangers on that used to call you for 100 naira, 200 naira, as the state develops economically, you are driving away poverty. That means that your money will go further because you are now looking after a smaller group of people. So, making sure that the state has economic viability is also part of the employee value proposition that we give to our people. Today, the kind of training that we are getting in Edo State Government, it is not common in Nigeria. The digital thinking, the way we do our work more seamlessly, all of those are things that we have put together and say is an employee value proposition. In my team, we are saying, what else do we think government needs to do for the people, for their staff? And we've identified housing. So say, okay, how can government begin to provide a form of housing scheme so that people know that when they've worked with Edo State Government for 5-10 years, they are able to get a grant or they are able to get access to funding to buy a loan or whatever it is to get their own accommodation, so that by the time they are leaving service in another 25 years, they are not looking for where to stay. They are not afraid that how am I going to pay rent after, because they have been able to own their own properties. There are other things that as staff of EDSG, we believe that we will need to do. Go forward. Next slide. Next slide. So, we are now looking. We cannot just say, oh, EDSG, we have our employee value proposition. There are things we are already doing. Let's just put that together and use it as our employee value proposition. No. We need to hear from the people themselves what their objectives are. And we know that employee value proposition is critical if our transformation will succeed, because people need to have some form of contentment in their daily activities. So, we want to be able to propose appropriate motivation for employees, working with the Office of the HOS, especially the Office of the Human Resources. Because when you have motivated employees, they will do more and deliver more for their state. When you want employees that will go the extra mile without being asked, they need to be motivated. And when our EVP is properly collated and properly communicated, we believe that it will increase staff engagement, which will lead to greater motivation and productivity for Edo State Government. We've been able to look at some of the key issues and say these key issues have already been addressed. But there might be additional key areas and concerns that employee has that we do not have insights into. And the only way for us to have those insights is for us to deploy a survey so that you can tell us what those concerns and pain points are. And that is why today we are saying, let us deploy an employee value proposition survey. Next slide. Let us deploy an employee value proposition survey. What do we want to do with that? We want a comprehensive evaluation and detailed assessments. We want to be able to see this from your own perspectives. What are the pain points that we have as workers for Edo State government, long-term workers. People like us, political appointees, we come and we go. But you are here for the long term. You have, sowed your working lives into Edo State government. What are your expectations of the outcomes that you want? We want to be able to align our employee value proposition with organizational goals and meet employee expectations to the best of our ability. So it's not that everything you people say you want, the government will just say, yes, approved, you will get all of them. No. But to a large extent, how do we develop and finalize an EVP for Edo State government that we would use going forth, making sure that we take the concerns, genuine concerns that we have as civil and public servants into consideration in developing our EVP. Next slide, please. So, today, we are launching the Edo State Government Employee Value Proposition Survey. The link will be put on the Change Agent platform and on the Heads of MDA's platform. And our earnest appeal is that we take it and we deploy it into our MDAs. All we want to do is gather information that will enable us get insights into this proposal, this proposition. This proposition is not going to be a strategy thing. We are the back end. The face of this proposition is going to be the transformation office. Because at the end of the day, this whole EVP needs to be owned by the states. And it needs to be owned. And the appropriate office of ownership is the office of the head of service. So yes, while we will drive the support, we will not own it. We will collaborate and ensure that the best EV proposition is put forward, but that proposition is owned by the states and anchored by the office of the head of service. Because if the implementation will succeed, it will only succeed if we have the buy-in of the appropriate quarters. Thank you very much. What do I need from you? I need your support. Not just that you are going to feel it, but that you are going to drive it such that we get the widest response from the organization. The heads of MDAs are here. The dynamic change agents are here. The only way we will be able to get a dynamic EVP is when we get a wider input. So please, your support is required, and that's why we are doing it here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Sarah. Edo State government is thinking of all of us. That's good to know. So we'll quickly move to the next session before we begin to round up today's engagement. Another cohort of brilliant people who have worked with the DIGI-LINK and the designs, using the design sprint method of problem solving, will come and showcase what they have done. So please, let's put our hands together for the next cohort. Cohort 3, please.
Standing on existing protocols, I'm to invite Team 1 to come up on stage to tell us what they've done. Keep the clap up coming, please. Harrison Oshomo, Martha Omobude. Members of Team 1, please come up on stage as well to support your team.
Where are the members of Team 1? Enoch. It's Team 1.
Okay, standing on existing protocol. My name is Harrison Oshomo. I'm a member of Team 1 for Design Sprint 3. And we are here to deliver a solution that you will like. Thank you very much. Next slide. Okay, so our sprint objectives to deliver an accountability and project transparency model to boost project sustainability. Next slide. Okay, in order to deliver the solution I said you would like, we went through several processes before we got to the solution. Now, one of the first process was to identify several challenges, several problems that we encounter in Edo State. We had to ideate, and we prioritized those challenges and those problems using the prioritization metrics. Now, our focus was on high impact and low effort. What do we mean by high impact and low effort? Means that all we need is low effort, but it impacts a wider range of persons. And we voted on the solutions, on the challenge that we want to provide the solution for. And we gave it a title called Incessant Failed Projects in Edo State Due to Lack of Accountability. We moved on to map out stakeholders. Now, in mapping out stakeholders, we map out stakeholders using primary stakeholders, secondary stakeholders, and tertiary stakeholders. What does that mean is stakeholders that are closer to the problems and stakeholders that are farther from the problems. Good. Now, at the end, towards the end, we now use the iceberg model. Now, the iceberg model is actually very, very interesting. Why did I say that? Because we can just give a problem, incessant failed projects in Edo State due to lack of accountability. You think you can actually solve it. But the iceberg model makes you see the problem beyond the surface. It takes you to the root cause of the problems. And we made assumptions that could hinder the process, our solutions to this challenge. And in making those assumptions, we made several assumptions. Then, at the end of day one, we came out with a goal. Now, what is the goal? How we want our solutions to be like. The goal is to develop an accountability and project transparency model to boost project sustainability. Then we developed a research plan for the next day. Next slide. Now, next day was user research. User research is very, very interesting. Why did I say that? Because it involves the end user. Because we are developing a solution that is going to be used by end users, not just us. So we needed to know what their insight is based on our solutions, based on what we want to provide. Now we had respondents, user respondents, research respondents, research locations, and research questions. We developed research questions, and we went to the field. We went to SQPMO, we went to the procurement office, we went to the general public, and went to Edo Public Building Maintenance Office. We also went to roads and bridges. And after our user research, from the questions that we generated and from the answers, we generated and we produced personas based on locations that we went to. We produced the project manager persona, we produced the monitoring and evaluation team persona, we produced the procurement officer and the citizen persona. Now, what the user research, what does it do? It gives us more insight and more depth into what the challenges and how we can provide solutions. Okay, now, this is where you will like it. Because at this part is the solution that we said we will give you. I'll call on Martha to give that solution. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Martha Omobude from the Strategy, Policy, Project and Performance Management Office. So part of Team 1, and this is the prototype we came up with. From what my colleague has said, our insight from the user research conducted led us to this prototype, which was developed by the team. During the solution process, we used the Crazy 8 methodology and what does this methodology do? Each team member was asked to come up with 8 solutions for the problem that was identified. So after that, you're allowed to pitch 3 of your best solutions. At the end, we voted, and the best solution was selected, which is this prototype I'm going to be walking you through on how it works. Slide. Next. Okay, so we came up with an app, and this app has 3 interfaces. We have the citizen interface, M&E interface, and a primary MDA that owns the project, their own interface. So this app can be downloaded from iOS or Play Store. So as a citizen, what this originally do is, if you have any complaint, for instance, I'm driving through Ikpopan Road and I see a project which I am familiar with, let's say for instance a water project, and looking at it, I'm not too satisfied, so I can just go to Play Store and download this app. Once I download it, so this window appears where you can view the project or you can report the project directly. So if you click on View Project, it takes you to this other module where once you come, you can put the location of the project, then project type. There's a drop down. Is it a building project, water project, is it school? Whatever project you want to report, view, you just put it there and you search. Once you click on search, next please. Once you click on search, it takes you to this module where you can put in the name of the project. I mean, if you click on name of project, all the projects under that parameter, if it's a building project in that locality, all the building project comes up and you can click that particular project. Once you click the project, all the details about that project comes up, which is the name of the contractor, the supervisory MDA, and project specification. This project specification has to do with those basic things you have to see originally from that project. So once you view those specifications and it's not what you're seeing on ground, you can either take a picture or make a video of your findings and click on reports. Once you click on reports, it takes you to this window where those parameters you've entered automatically is an autofill model. So it fills everything where it has the name of the project, the location, the project owner, and all of that. So you can now put your comment here, what you think is the problem or whatever you want to report. So here you can attach your file, either the video or the picture which you have, and you click on submit. Once you click on submit, automatically it goes to the second interface, which is the M&E interface. And this M&E interface is going to be tied to eGov, because since the state is going digital, so we want everything to integrate into eGov. And this interface will be a module under eGov. So as an M&E official, you log in with your Edo State email and you put in your password. Once you click on login, it takes you, next please. It takes you to this interface where you have all the received complaints, all the treated complaints. So once you click on any of the complaints, it takes you here where the complaints, everything displays what the citizen has complained about, the pictures, everything is displayed here. So once you click on action, it takes you to this interface where you can now assign. And when you click on assign, there's a drop down where you can now put in the email of the, because since you're an M&E officer, you already have the details of each project, the project owner, and all of that. So you just put it and put your comment and send. Once you click on treated, it goes directly to the third interface, which is the owner, the project owner. So the MDA who is in charge of that project, it goes directly to the person's mailbox. And when it gets there, so he can now see everything Whatever you've sent to him, he will be able to view. And once he views, so he will definitely know what to do about it. And once he has done it, it's either to assign it or escalate. At the end of the day, he clicks on close out. And once he clicks on close out, there's a prompt to the MIN officer to tell him that, okay, this is your concern, that this concern that was raised by a citizen has been treated, because we also need to give feedback to the citizen. So once it goes back to the M&E officer, this next. Once it goes back to the M&E officer, it will now click on closed. Will now click on close, and once he clicks on close, it comes as a comment under the citizens app, so that you as a citizen, if you go back, you can now see that yes, this issue that I raised has been treated. That is how it works. And you see, the design sprint resulted in creating the Edo State Project Accountability System app, a tool designed to improve project accountability. You see, because if we have this tool at our disposal, I think a lot of projects will be able to follow up and know what's happening every time. So the level of projects not being completed and all of that will reduce drastically, because you know that citizens are watching and there's actually an avenue for them to follow up. Because part of the findings when we went for users research was that, yes, they noticed a lot of things, but they don't know any avenue to report these things. That was what bettered this idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was very brilliant, Cohort 3. Do we have any questions for Cohort 3, please?
We will also be taking questions from those participating online. So if you're in Zoom, feel free to send your questions to the chat, and our team will get that to us.
Let me first of all commend the team for a wonderful work done. When going through the presentation, there was a place for email address. Is it meant for only M&E staff or for the general public? And if it's for only M&E staff, I would suggest that all staff of, not all staff, all Edo persons to be able to log in and complain. So it should not be restricted to only government staff alone. Because there are people outside who will see a project that feels that is not going on well. So those people should be able to download and fill in all the details they've observed and send it to the appropriate destination. It should not be restricted to only MIE staff each, because the MIE staff might not be all over the place. So the end users or the community where the project is cited will have more people, educated people or enlightened people within the system to report on what is going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. What she said when she was explaining the prototype, we have 3 stages of that prototype. The essence of the application is for the citizen to drive the process. So the first part of it is a mobile app, which is where the citizen reports whatever they see at the site of that project. It's an anonymous kind of process. You don't need to state your name. You just download the app, just report it from the system. So the other stage is the M&E stage. That's where you log in. Yes, because the M&E person will respond to whatever the citizen sent to the app. So that's just basically it. Thank you.
More questions, please. Okay, thank you very much for the work. It's very elaborate and is a solution to most of our problems. We thank God for this opportunity, for the change agents and the SPPMO for putting this together and all other persons involved. I would just like to suggest that we have a kind of reporting that is saved from this process, because it appears that the last person to act on these reports is the officer handling the project or in that office. So we should envisage a situation where the citizen may see a failed project in a perspective, but the officer running that project may not see it as a problem. So there should be some other form of monitoring, so that where an officer decides that that project that he is reported as failed is okay, some other backup, some other evaluation team can see what has happened and actually have a feedback on it. So maybe when we have such reports, there should be provision for how long they will be stored in the system, who can access them afterwards, so that there is a kind of evaluation of what even the officer is doing to respond to such issues.
Okay, noted. So we'll add that to it. There's a database behind this application. So everything that is imputed or any issue that is resolved goes to that database and stored there in case of future reference, or you want to run a report to know what was resolved and what is still pending. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocols. I must say I'm quite encouraged by what I've heard today and what I've seen. In this your own application, I think it will go a long way in probably resting the issues of not giving enough communication to our citizens. I noticed, I don't know, maybe I missed it. Your entry point is the use of an email to be able to log in. Is that the way you log in?
From the M&E aspect, but from the user aspect, you don't need anything to log in.
You don't require anything to log in, but you require the app.
Yes.
Good. That's the point I wanted to make. In terms of the number of people who are tech savvy, who can use an app in the first place, I think we must be able to create a solution that will enable even the simplest of text messages can be used. That way we'll get a much larger coverage. And the other thing is, I think there should be some sort of a feedback loop so that the person may know that, okay, your item has been closed out, but some sort of specific message that will tell the person, oh, hope I've addressed your concern. Please kindly confirm. Okay. You understand? Okay. Thank you. But very good work.
Thank you, sir.
Please, we have one more question for cohort 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very fantastic prototype. If implemented, it will go a long way addressing a lot of issues. Just like the PS transformation I've said, I just want to iterate this, and I want you to take notes. It's very important. You see, there should be, apart from the feedback, there should be timeline for addressing these issues, such that if this issue is not addressed, there should be a query for any person monitoring these things. And also, like she rightly said, there should be multiple, it should not just be restricted to the M&E. The key stakeholders involved should also be noted.
Sorry, that's my fault. Actually, when on the last slide, okay, when the primary MDA, the owner of the project, doesn't respond, there's actually an SLA. So after a week, if you don't respond, there's a prompt, which escalates to his supervisors, and after 3 days, if there's still no response, it goes directly to the governor. I was supposed to say that part, my bad. Thank you.
So for the first question, we also plan to introduce a USSD to this app so that people that don't know, that don't have an idea of to use an Android phone can just type a code and type the message and press send. It automatically comes to the M&E officer to treat. So that's part of his plan as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When it comes to indiscriminate dumping of refuse management in Edo State. And the goal of our problem was, the fundamental problem identified was to create a clean and sustainable environment for a prosperous Edo State. To create a clean and sustainable environment for a prosperous Edo State. Next slide, please. Okay, on the day 2, I think this is the most interesting part of the design sprint. On the day 2, this is where we go out for our user research. So we went to 3 different places. We were divided into 3 groups. The first group, we went to the market. Some went to schools. Some visited, just normal citizens like you and I, to ask them about this problem of indiscriminate dumping of refuse within the state. They gave us their insights. They told us the reasons why this thing keep happening day in, day out. They pay for these services, but they don't get the value for their money. Then this opportunity stood out for us during our user research. Improve the interesting. We don't want to use the word privatization, so we use the word democratization of operation, military regulation and enforcement and awareness. Why do we have people dumping refuse in Edo State indiscriminately? Is it because there is no awareness? Of course there's awareness, but people are naturally stubborn and they don't want to adhere to instructions. So when we came back on that day 3, we brought out our user research, we analyzed it, and on the 3rd day, we came up with a prototype to solve this problem, this challenge that we have acknowledged. So my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give the mic to a team member of mine who is going to run us through the prototype on the solution that we came up with at the end of the day. So I will now call on Theodora to run us through the prototype for day 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Theodora, and I'll continue from where he has stopped. So the summary of our day 2 activities after the survey was conducted was, with that challenge there being addressed, it now takes us to storyboarding. What did we do? What did we do with storyboarding? We tried to capture every detailed component or feature that would enable us design this app for each of this category of users. Now, eventually, when we were done with this storyboarding, one for the government, one for the service providers, and the last one was for the users, we still collated them. And at this point, we are ready to design the app. And what we did was to do a sketch of what our model would look like. And if you look at the screen there, that is what you are seeing. So at this point in time, please permit me to invite my next colleague to finish up. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols. My name is Dimigu Frogene. Please, can we go back to the previous slide? And I'm from the Strategy, Policy, Project and Performance Management Office. So this is our prototype for Carry.T. Carry.T is one of our solutions to solving the problem of indiscriminate dumping of refuse in Edo State. So we have people dumping all this refuse, and we discovered that collection is a problem. So this app aims to help collection, management, monitoring, payments, everything from the user's end, the admin end, and the service provider's end. So we have the first page. Any one of the users, the admin, the service provider can come in, log in. You will choose the type of user that you are, and then you go to the sign up page. Next, please. So this will take us back to the login page where you will log in with your details that she used to register. So the next interface is for the user, where you want to book a pickup for your waste, whatever it may be. So you look for your location on the map, and then you put in your details, such as like the weight of the garbage that you want to dispose, and then you book a pickup. So this pickup will go to the zone that you are in, and then a service provider can either reject or pick up your waste. And that's the user interface for the service provider. There we have Osareme Ventures. On his interface, he sees the pop-up from Osamide Omori, and he sees that it's in Oredo. So if he's interested in picking up that job, he would pick it up or reject it. And as you can see, there's a dashboard. So you have requests, collections, invoices, support, more. He can see how much he's making every month. And they can also see his performance for this month and the next month. That's based on the dashboard here. And then he can also see his recent collections. You have home, you have statistics, you have notifications, you have settings. So if he wants to report a client, there's an avenue to report. There's also an avenue to make complaints to the government. Please, the next one. That's that for the service provider. Back to the user. He has requested a pickup, and the service provider has accepted his or her request. And then the time and the date for the pickup will be sent to the user. That's the notification right there. Then we're assuming, because this is a prototype, we're assuming that the service provider comes to pick up this waste, they weigh it, and then there's billing. So the payments for those that are tech savvy will be done on the app. Cash is also allowed. We plan on employing USSD codes to make all of these payments easier. And then you can see they've paid, payment successful. To the next slide, please. Okay, so there's also an interface for rating the service provider. And that is very important, because we have to evaluate, we have to monitor, the government will do all of that. Now, this is the interface for admin, which is the government. As you can see, this is a dashboard. It has the goal, you have the search, because there's a lot of functions, features for the admin in this interface. You have approvals, you have rejections, you have pending, performance, KYC, because for every service provider, they're going to need to submit some essential documents. They're also going to have to do a physical verification exercise, and all of that will go on there. We have the reports, we have the licensing, we have the payments. And then they can also see this view of the top collectors. As you can see, Osareme Ventures is the top collector here. We have home, support, schedule, and the profile. So this is the Carry.C app, which is a comprehensive solution to the problem of indiscriminate refuse dumping in Edo State. Thank you very much. Questions? Sir?
Thank you very much. The innovation is very, very wonderful. I like it. The only area, should I say the two areas that I wish to suggest for clarity is it that you are going to provide containers that we have the weight value of the containers, so that once it is full, this is 10 kg, this is 20 kg, or all the homes will be provided with scale, that they will scale their weights and know what is the weight, who will provide it, or how will the homes know the weight of their refuse. Right. That's number one. Then number two, as you went on, it was becoming a little bit complicated for the ordinary user. It's like so many interface, so many questions, so many things to click on. If there is a way it could just be easier, it will be very, very fine. But the idea is very fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So in an ideal world, the refuse collectors, the service providers, they will come with their infrastructure, with their skills, and they're going to help you weigh your waste, and that will help for the payment.
Yeah.
Meets the requirement of encouraging the waste managers, but we can't start talking about weight. So when I take refuse from my kitchen, I'll go and wait. Doesn't work now.
Okay, ma. Why we introduce the idea of weighing the waste before the user pays, Mr. A might have more waste than Mr. B. So we don't expect Mr. A to pay more for just like, just small refuse like bag of pure water and all that, to Mr. B who produces who generates more waste. So we try to strike a balance to make sure we don't cheat Mr. A. Okay. Okay, next person, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on existing protocols. I must confess that your assignment was a very difficult one, because dirty matter is a very big problem in Edo State. Governments have tried their best to see how they can control it. Before I will ask you this question, I just want to give you a picture of it, why I said it's a problem. Everywhere, even in Ring Road. So, you have really done a good job. It's very beautiful the way it's designed. But practically, it does not work that way. Because the problem we have about dirty is not the people, it's the operator. Because government gave them a law to oppress the people. So they just use the law to intimidate people, arrest people on Sundays, deal with them. So the people have to hide to throw away these days, even in the places that are not supposed to be. So why don't we just focus more on these people that we are employing to carry out these services? Then set up a body in the waste management that are just there for money, revenue matter. To monitor closely these people. They collect money, they don't do anything. For people to be bold enough to turn the center of the road to dirty flower means that they are revolting. So I want to suggest that there is need to make provision for a collection center, not weighing dirty. There must be a point. So most of our landlords just end up building a house, tiring it to the road so that there will be no room for clearing. Nobody makes provision for where the tenants will throw dirt. So government has a responsibility, and the people have. So the house has to make a provision for where they will put dirty. And the government has to also get a place for central collection of dirty. On that, not forgetting the security, the health hazard associated with it. So my question is, at what point, that's looking at the distance, would the government make provision for collection points
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Confidence from ICT Agency, supporting the group. Now, to make it more clearer, I think we are kind of misunderstanding. The idea behind this project is the government body, Waste Management Board, is going to be doing monitoring and evaluation. Then, the bodies that are going to be registered as waste collectors will be assigned different zones in Benin City, taking Benin City as a case study. So some bodies, some service providers assign Auchi, for instance, some assign Aduawa, some assign the whole of Ring Road and its environs, some bodies assign markets. So these persons are the ones responsible. So another idea is for responsibilities too. So if the Waste Management Board goes to the market and see it's not clean, why is this data still here? He knows who to call. He knows the body that has been assigned to this market. Why is this road not clean? He knows who to call. He knows the body that has been assigned to this road. So the whole idea for the app is also to monitor and see, okay, see the statistics of these bodies from the admin end. The waste management statistics, are they really carrying out this load? Are they doing this? Then on the user aspect, when the user registers and gets his location, gets an address and everything, and is assigned the service provider for that zone. So when the person books for collection, the service provider for that zone sees it and books the schedule to collect around that area. So the service provider can say, today the next collection is also time. So whoever is going to book it once all together, they do a roundup collection for that region. So that's basically the idea behind the app and the whole waste management.
Okay, to add to what he just said, when we were doing this design sprint, we thought of a way to stop indiscriminate dumping of refuse. And one of the ways was to privatize the entire operation. So if the operation is privatized, you're going to have investors, you're going to have investments, we're going to have recycling plants that private companies are willing to pay for. So all the operation, you can leave it to the service providers. The job of the government is to monitor, is to approve, is to administer licenses, evaluate, and enforce, because you will hear complaints from both sides, the service provider and the users. The government's job now is to enforce. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Team members, I choose to stand on existing protocol. I am Dr. Oyegun Samowopa. I have listened to you keenly, and I want to congratulate you for a job that has been done. There's still room for improvement. When the last speaker, I heard her say the total solution to waste management problem in Edo State is what has been developed. I quickly had to, pick the mic. That is for waste collection. I think you've developed an app for waste collection. That is not the total solution to waste management. It's just part of it. There's what we call the 4 R's in waste management. It is called reduce from the source of generation of waste. You are encouraged to reduce waste generation. There is what we call the reduce, reuse. You are encouraged to use those things instead of buying nylon all the time. You can use all over again to reduce waste, to reduce generation of waste in your house. There's what we call the recycle. You can recycle what you already have. That helps in reduction of waste generation. Then there's what we call the waste recovery process. All these ones are geared into waste management, not just the collection alone. Even if we want to talk about the collection, it's the point of generation, which I just told you about, how to reduce waste generation is one of the major ways in waste management, to the point of transportation, collection, transportation, and final disposal. Even at the disposal stage, you need to manage waste in order for it not to cause an epidemic in the future. That's what we call the recycle and the recovery. So what you've developed is a good one, but it's not the total solution to waste management. Kudos, thank you.
Thank you very much. So the focus, okay, she said the total solution. It's not a total solution, but the focus was to enhance collection, because when they went out for user research, the main problems identified was a collection problem. Yes, in the spectrum of waste management, there are many parts to it, but the solution they're providing an answer to is the collection part. So we found out that most people wanted to really pay for these solutions, but the problem is that they had a collection problem. So that's why they developed a mechanism where people that are collectors can collect, and they know the time for collection, and also you can actually rate them. And the benefit of the rating is that the government can see that on their own dashboard and see a particular person has a very low rating, almost like a Uber solution, right? Why is this person having a 2/5 out of their 100 pickups? There is a problem there. So government they have actionable data that they can actually work with, compared to not having anything at all. So now citizens can actually give feedback and say this person is not a good collector, this person is assigned to us, never comes to pick their materials. So they are addressing a collection problem, not the total spectrum of waste management. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ofe. Thank you very much, Cohort 3, Group 2. The PS has directed that we invite Group 3 on the stage. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Standing on all existing protocol, I represent Group 3. My name is Dr. Mrs. Abulime, and my partner. We are here to showcase Group 3 and Team 3 sprint. We started by the day one. Day one started with identifying the problem, which was, slide please. Identifying the problem, which was the lack of ease of doing business in Edo State through impact effort quadrant. We identified our stakeholders, and we used the iceberg method on finding solutions to the problem. Then assumptions were raised, goals and research objectives were analyzed. Then we generated research questions, which were used for day 2. I invite my partner to continue with day 2 activities.
Thank you very much. Standing on the existing protocol, my name once again is Idagbon Blessing David. I wouldn't want to bore us with the process, because basically for all the sprinters, for the various groups, it's the same process. So I'm going to take you through our prototype, the prototype that we propose. Now, the day one, we took time to identify what the challenge, what the need was. Perception is reality in this environment. Recently, the body that is saddled with conducting ease of doing business in Nigeria, I'm not saying outside, Edo State scored what we usually refer to those days as Agbekpo. We scored 37/37. So now that creates a very terrible perception for investors and for business owners and for those who want to go into business, who want to conduct business with Edo State. So this need or this challenge is very critical and very important. We were also able to identify this need or this challenge that we identified with one of the key pillars, thematic pillars in the government, this current administration, that's economic revolution. Now, my partner has mentioned that the objective, please, like I said, I don't want to run through the process, I just want to go to the meat. What is the objective of this project, this prototype? The objective is to identify challenges or obstacles to the ease of doing business, profile suitable solutions. So we went through the rigorous process using design sprint, and then we had a goal. From all those processes using the iceberg model, what was our goal? Our goal was to improve the economic growth in Edo State by attracting investors, increasing employment, and improving the standard of living. Now, when we went out for the user research, that's talking about day 2 now, there was this pattern, this trend. I'll be going back and forth, the iceberg model, so that you can understand what I'm saying, because the real meat is the prototype that we have designed. There's this pattern of the government not being sensitive. Part of the insights, the observations, and the notable quote we got, part of the insight is that government is insensitive, government is inhumane, and we observed that some of the users, the end user, the respondent didn't even want to interact with you. Anything that has to do with government, they just shut down. Like I said, perception is reality. And we also, part of the insight we gathered, I'm laying all this foundation so that by the time I go to the protocol, you will appreciate what we have done. Part of the insight is that we discovered that there was a gap between how the government sees itself in the eyes of the citizens and how the citizens actually see the government. So we had a perception problem. That perception problem is what has led to this lack of ease in doing business. And partly the government was responsible for that perception. Part of the insight we got was that some of those persons that represent the government, that come to collect levies, they come with sticks, they are tout, and they brutalize people. We are talking about the same persons that are in the business circle that are carrying Edo State forward. So it's like you are killing the goose that lays the golden egg. And that, for us, was a problem. Please, go straight to the prototype. So, after a series of consultation, like I said, analysis, we thought of who better can tell our story other than ourselves. Nobody can tell your story better than you do. You have to market your own image. So we concluded with designing a digital web app. That digital web app will be called the Edo State Digital Web App for Ease of Doing Business. Now, this is the landing page. In this landing page, we thought of creating a one-stop bus stop for everything. such that prospective investors, these are our stakeholders, prospective investors, business owners, consumers, and even the state government itself, that is interagency relations. How can people be interested in coming to do business? Let's gather these things and put it in one spot. On the landing page of this web app, you see key headings there, like institutions, investment opportunity, market information, tax regulations and policies, grants and loans, then the help desk. Now, part of the complaint of these medium-scale owners is the fact that the government does not even care for them, despite the harsh economic reality. They don't even have a place to get a loan to refund or reboost their business. That's why you are having grants and loans there. Government is not giving them grants. Edo State is not giving them loans. We will get to that. For the investment opportunity, please, click on the next slide, please. Slide operator. Go again, because this has to do with institutions. Let me take us to the meat. Go further, please. Go further. Go further. Next slide, please. Go further. Once you click on investment opportunities, we want to showcase Edo State, what do we have to offer? How are we going to change the narrative of ranking 37 out of 37, even in Nigeria? So that means we don't stand a chance outside. That was what we discovered from the user research. Agriculture, we have huge opportunities in agriculture. The ESOP program on palm oil and others. Real estate, when they come, this is what this website is designed to be synchronized with other existing websites. That's why we said it's a one-stop shop. Instead of me searching for multiple websites, if you come to this digital platform, this digital web platform, you don't need to navigate outside. Everything is connected. So there is the ease. You are in one place and you see everything you are looking for. Like under real estate, we have the Coral City that is currently under development. The Emota Garden City is also there. Huge investment opportunity for those that are into real estate. So when they browse, and let me also mention that a very important feature in this web app, in this prototype solution, is the fact that you can read it in different language. There is a button at the very beginning. If you are from Spain, you can just click and then it will change everything to your local language. So you are not cut off. Now, for us to bridge the gap between those that are literate and the ones that are not literate, this is an addendum to this prototype. Billboards are going to be placed on strategic locations for very vital information that business owners and consumers will need. For example, the issue of, so these are the real essays. So please move on, please. Next slide. Okay, don't worry. I will just go on without it. Please go back to where you have the main page so that I can talk on the headings. Go back. Oh, yes, so stay here. So for investment opportunities, when you come, like how many of us have heard of MOA, the MOA project? Yeah, we are going to link to all of their websites. The Creative Benin District, all of those projects, you click on investment opportunities, you're going to see everything. Now, part of unidentified people come to collect levies and they don't have a way of identifying these tax regulations and policies, and they complain of multiple taxations. So part of our proposal to the government will be, please, why not you issue a single tax policy whereby there is harmonized? So if I'm a business owner, I share it. So there is no stress, no encumbrance. Then for those of the levies, we completely, this app completely remove the issue of tax. They are no longer part of it. Then for businesses who want to improve and develop on their business, they're heading for grants and loans. This app also graciously will be synced with other websites like that of NISRA, the Bank of Industries, and others. So the idea is that you get to one location, you see everything. Edo State will have the opportunity of showcasing what we have, the investment opportunities that we have here. Then also there is the help desk, a very unique feature in this app. You don't need 2 phone numbers, just one. Now, the technology behind that single number is like what is used, your 911. There's nowhere you dial 911, the person responding to you does not respond from New York when you are in California. It's because the technology behind it is called omni-channel. That is what is going to feature under the help desk. So when I make one phone, I dial one number, depending on what I say, the computer automatically redirects you to the particular section in the government that you want to deal with. So lastly, because the government has taken hit on its reputation before the citizen, we now know that we needed an unbiased empire. Why the state government is the owner, but we need a body with reputation, because this is data. People want to believe that what they will see before they come, they are actually real. The government will get a credible body that has credibility. They will be the managers of this website. So that way, when any foreign investors, that means you don't need to come to Edo State to travel to Edo North to see the potentials of investment that you need. In one spot, any part of the world, you will see Edo State, see the opportunities, business owners and consumers for markets. For that of the market information, people spend more doing shopping, going to one market to the other. Under market information, you will have all the market locations, you will have commodity, you will have the prices. So what that means for the consumer is that if I'm leaving the house, for those who are literate, of course, if I'm leaving the house, I should know the market where I'm going to, where I can get all the commodities that I want to buy at the cheapest cost. So that way, you are helping the citizens to say, listen, we empathize, we are sensitive to your plight, which is what they feel they don't have now. So that is what this digital solution is actually providing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, do we have questions for group 3?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the presentation, group 3. And well, if you look at the ease of doing business, there are different parameters, not just maybe accessibility is just part of them. Then my question now is this: giving us a platform that incorporates everything we need, do you think that is the solution? Now, if it is the solution, what are the functions of the various MDAs responsible for this? Because you are trying to give platform showcasing. I don't think that is possible. I'm saying this in the sense that you have already MDAs, they have their maybe like website that tries to showcase them. So why coming with a different idea when they already have it? Because for me, I think it would be better to help them build what they have than incorporating this all together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Osas from Edo State, Edo State Flood Erosion and Watershed Management. Okay, one of the things we identified when we went out was, we went to some of the public sectors and addressed private business owners, and we found out that there's an issue of synergy. And what you just spoke about, of course, was an issue in everybody's mind. You're asking, okay, there are agencies or ministries who are in charge of these different functions. Now, if you look at the app, immediately you click on institutions. You see all the institutions that have to do with ease of doing business, that is concerned with businesses, investments, and everything in Edo State. So him saying, if you listen to him, he said it was a one-stop shop. It means that when you click on that particular, if you're looking for investment in agriculture, for example, or you're looking for investment in tourism, immediately you click it. So it doesn't do the job of the agency or the ministry. Immediately you click it, it directs you straight to that particular MDA. So it's there to connect you. So where there is this disconnect, duplication of roles in the government, you don't have those problems anymore. So it just directs you straight to the MDA that is in charge of that responsibility.
Good afternoon, guys. Yeah, great job. Please, I would like to know when you did your user research before I ask this question. Yes. When? No, the month. Is it okay, this week. Okay. Why I actually asked was because of the ranking. You said Edo State was 37. Yes, out of 37, because I was doing a little research, and I don't like Edo State, that position. I don't like being at all. So I was doing a research as at December 2022, Edo State was top 5 ease of doing business. Then first quarter, Edo State slipped to 37th position. So I wanted to be sure because I think the PBC report is, I think it's biannual or quarter, so I want to think that it should not be 37th at this stage. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll take one more question, and that'll be it for